Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Liz, your host here at Crimes Untold. And today we're going to be talking about the murder of Betsy Aardsma. So, on November 28th of 1969, 22-year-old Betsy Aardsma, or Elizabeth Ruth Aardsma, was in the Pattee Library at Penn State University doing research for an English paper. But she wasn't alone prior to going to the library. She was with a friend, Sharon Brandt. Her and Sharon had made some plans to go see a movie following Betsy doing research for her English class. Sorry, hydration. Anywho, so after she would be done with research, they would go to the movies, they would see this movie. So following this conversation, Betsy runs into one of her professors, and this professor is Nicholas Jokovsky. Yes, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, Jokovsky. And they had a quick conversation. She said that she was going to go to the stacks so she could do some more research. This was around 4 p.m. that afternoon. Following this interaction, she then briefly encounters two fellow students. This is Robert Steinberg and Linda Marsa. And after that very quick interaction with them, she goes inside the library. So right after she goes in, she drops her purse, her jacket, and a book off at a Carrel desk, which is like the cubicle style wooden desks that they have in the library. It's called a Carrel, Carrel. After this, she would then go to the card catalog system. If you don't know what that is, you make me feel old, even though I'm just in my 30s. But anywho, she goes into the card catalog system and she grabs her reference card and then proceeds to level 2 of the Stacks building. This was around 4:30 p.m. when this happens. So not long after she enters the building, has these interactions with these people, she goes inside of the library. So the assistant supervisor of the library, his name is Dean Brungart. So Dean Brungart said he saw a girl standing alone in an aisleway in the library that was in a red dress. There was also two younger men that were talking quietly to one another, and they were like towards the west side. So there she is. They were towards like the west side, but like end of the aisle, which was near her. So she's down here, they're like over here. I know you can't really see my hands because I talk with my hands, but so she's here, they're like over here, but towards like the end of the aisle. This is potentially one of the final times that she was ever seen alive, and just minutes past 4:30. Between 4:40 and 4:50, Richard Allen, who's another fellow student, he heard a man and a woman speaking. And it's roughly after this, he hears them speaking. They're in the same general area that Betsy was last seen, and Richard is at the photocopier. He then heard something crash, kind of like metal. If you've ever heard metal crash, you know it has a very, very distinct noise. So he hears the metal, and then after this noise, there's a young man that runs by him. This man like barrels out of nowhere. And this leads up to what happens next. So this man runs out. There's two students. They say they see this guy run from the area where the loud noise is. But this man is hiding his right hand. Why would he be hiding his right hand? I don't know. But he kept saying, the girl needs help. That girl needs help. That girl needs help. What girl? This girl would be Betsy. Betsy was found slumped on the ground between row 50 and row 51 towards the end of the aisle, and there's like books that were pulled off the shelf surrounding her on the floor. So it kind of looks like when she fell, she tried to grab something to hold on to, and that's when books were kind of just like taken off of the shelf and onto the floor. Hence why they heard that metallic sound, like that ting sound. So when she was found with a wound in the chest, But as I talk about the paramedics after they bring her away, they don't really notice she has a wound in her chest because she's wearing a red dress. A red sleeveless dress, like the one that the man saw earlier. Yep. So the wound to her chest revealed that she had been stabbed, and the stab pierced her heart, and through the sternum, which is a pretty hard jab, I will say. Cutting through bone is, if you read about it, it's not something that people can generally do because of how hard you have to, thrust. It's, you have to use a lot of force. I've never done it before. I don't want to do it, but it's like a quick jab. Or, if you've ever seen this is going to sound really, hogwashy as to why I'm bringing this up. But if you've ever seen on a movie or show when somebody shanks somebody, that same, force, the quick jab, it more than likely wasn't a quick jab. It was more than likely push all the way in, and then yank it right out. More damage. But, anywho, so, this wound also severed her pulmonary artery as well. So it pierced through her heart, it hit the right ventricle of her heart, and then it severed her pulmonary artery. She was bleeding out internally in her chest. She's bleeding out. That must have been so devastating. So the two students that saw this man, one is Zhao Uafinda, and Marilee Erdley. So they said that the man they saw was about 6 feet tall, approximately 185 pounds. So normal size, but tall. He's very well maintained. He has very well maintained hair, and he was wearing clothes that was casual, but business casual, slacks and something nice. It was different. This man would lead them to Betsy. Erdley would check her for a pulse, and then Zhao watched the guy walk out of the library. So he follows him. But Zhao, when he follows him discreetly, but I think the dude caught on that he was being watched by somebody, so he booked it. And Zhao lost him soon after. They both left the library, but he noticed the guy was going towards recreational hall on campus. So Erdley would do CPR and would try to administer life-saving steps until the paramedics came, which were student paramedics. They failed to notice that she had a stab wound to her chest. So had they have put on some pressure on her chest, maybe they would have slowed down her internal bleeding and her drowning on her own blood. Possibly they could have done that, but they didn't. So this stab wound, after she was pronounced dead at the Belafonte Hospital in Belafonte, she was pronounced dead at 4 a.m. But stab wound she has was determined to be by a right-handed killer, and that the perpetrator was looking at Betsy when this happened. So it's somebody she knew, somebody that was right in front of her, that decided to kill her. No one has ever been charged in connection to the murder of Betsy Aardsma. Nobody. There are 3 suspects, but none of them have been charged in connection to the murder. Police also haven't been able to build a case that isn't just circumstantial against any of the 3. Those suspects are Richard Hafner, Larry Maurer, and William Spencer. 2 of them are students and 1 is a sculptor. So that, my friends, is a lovely unsolved murder of Betsy Aardsma, or the start of the urban legend of never being in the library by yourself. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in another video.